This episode is Energy Healing Tools for Teachers. This episode came about because it's really tugged on my heartstrings what teachers have lived through during the pandemic and just as teachers in general. The weight of the responsibility. You're expected to, in some cases, parent our children or sometimes be the therapist or meet the district, state, or national standards. And sometimes you're dealing with funding and supplies and resources and children who are dealing with trauma and having to maneuver through a pandemic and the stress that that puts on everyone in the children and staff. And you're supposed to help kids succeed in an environment that is compromised. Essentially, you're dealing with trauma in the field of education, and sometimes kids are really finding self-soothing through screens, but that in itself is a spiral, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And I've had teachers over the past, 18 months to 2 years to beyond saying, Wendy, these tools that you have could really benefit teachers in how they can restore themselves and maybe even how they can be at their best in these circumstances and conditions, and maybe even how they might be able to help children further. And I want to say, first of all, I'm a teacher by way of I run a school for intuitive studies. I'm not a teacher in a format of I'm not a public school teacher, and I have many friends who are. And I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a school psychologist, but I am a parent who sends their child to a public school. And I do see the lens. I see, my child has been through the yes, schools open, no schools closed, and the stress of what it's like at this point. And my child wears masks at school, and as that's been changing, that's also changing for her. And so my point is that this information I'm going to be offering you today is not to replace any therapeutic or professional development or anything that you might need on a professional level and on a therapeutic level for yourself. It's to give you some tools and some different lens into how you might support yourself from an energetic healing perspective. And by all means, should you need more professional support in a different way, then please seek that out. So, first of all, I wanted to share that, I run training programs and train healers, and some of them are educators. Some of my students are teachers and educators in different school systems, and they might even have worked in administration and been retired or actively teachers. And they have shared with me back that, as they've learned these more introspective, meditative tools, on how to be with themselves, it's changed how they are in front of people in general, but certainly as a teacher. And it's also supported them through these pandemic years. I wanted to provide some resources here today that's a little different than what I would do in a podcast, where I might not always necessarily teach information, but as I said in the beginning, it's tugged on my heartstrings that teachers need something. And I wanted to give you back something for all that you have given and put out into the world to support children and our communities. And sometimes it's a thankless job, and you need something too. You need to be cared for too. And so I wanted to provide you some tools and resources that you might be able to work with in your day-to-day life as you are in a classroom or in the building or online, working as an online teacher, and how you might take care of yourself at home or before you go to school and before you're with children all day. you know. So, first of all, these are the tools I want to offer you. The the important thing that I want to start with is that it's like that oxygen mask analogy. You put your own mask on before you help other people. And I say this because a lot of questions that come to me as an intuitive healer or learning tools is, how do I help my children? They are traumatized. They are coming from compromised homes, living situations, financial background, economics, or they're dealing with stress of school and et cetera. We could go down the list. And they want to know how to help their children because they're seeing the struggle in as they show up, and it shows in their performance at school. And so the first thing I want to say is that the tools I'm really going to be giving you is more about you. This podcast is for you. This message is for you. And it's how to take care of yourself and some things you might be doing in the classroom space that could actually shift the energy of the space that would make it on a vibrational level something that your students would feel, a way that they might come into a clean energy in your space. So here we go. So the first thing I want to say is that starting your day is really, really important. That you are grounding yourself, centering yourself, setting an intention for yourself for your day. So I imagine, because teachers, you are intelligent, you are training the brain of these children, that it has you in your brain having to think about the lesson plans and how the day is going to go, and how the unfolding. It's very cerebral, it's very frontal lobe cortex of the brain, and it requires a lot of mental energy. What's important for you is that you have the rest of your body. And when we go into, as an educator, when you go into a classroom space setting and you're working with students, it's important to recognize that energy transfers to us. And in the therapeutic process, we call that transference. Literally, energy will transfer into our energetic body. And if you're teaching 20 to 50 kids, hopefully your class isn't that big, but if you're even in more than 3 kids, it's a lot. It's a lot to be in the space of children and basically bodies, other people. And this could be true if within an administration staff also. So it's important to recognize that we have an energetic field, we have an auric field around the outside of our body, and that our body doesn't end at our body. It actually ends at the auric field. And so you are engaging energetically through the day and perhaps picking up energy through the auric field throughout your day. And so it's important to know that you have an energetic system. And at the start of your day, it's important to ground your energetic system and recognize that the power of standing in front of a room as a leader, a teacher, means that the lower half of your body has to be just as engaged and grounded and present as your brain and as your eyes and your senses, because that's often how we will. I imagine if you've been in classrooms and you've had mask mandates, you have to use your eyes, and you're probably having to talk a lot through the mask, and that has that wear and tears on your throat even. But my point here is that there is more where you have to emphasize in the upper body, your head, your face, your throat, even your heart. You also have a lower chakra system, and I use the chakras, so I'll say that differently. We use our lower body. And so our lower body is where we find our root power. That's where we find our deeper voice. That's where we walk our talk. That's where we hold our presence and our deeper sense of embodied power. So to be that leader and walk into a room and embody yourself in confidence and strong will and in being grounded in your legs and feet. You have to prep for that. That means, and this is the energetic tool that I use, is that we have a grounding cord, and our grounding cord energetically, we don't see it with our eyes, it's perceived. It's secure around the sides of our hips, and it supports the whole sort of low belly, low spine. It's like a column of energy that extends deep, 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 deep into the earth, and it sprouts roots. It's like a tree trunk. And that you don't leave your house without engaging, meditating, tuning in, and feeling that grounding cord. First thing in the morning, maybe before coffee, maybe before you even get out of bed, that you engage that awareness of I am tethered to this earth energetically, and my soul is deeply embodied. I am taking a deep seat into my legs and into my feet. And I'm going to walk this day from being in my power, in my body. That's really important because you being grounded affects how students are going to energetically be in their bodies in your presence. That is the law of cellular transference on an energetic level. You can be grounded, and walk into a room, and people feel that power inside yourself. So it's very important that you take care of you in this way so that students can mirror that sense of power and grounding in their body. Obviously, we know they're dealing with a lot. It's hard to stay embodied when there's a lot of trauma in the world. So as you do this tool, it sets you up energetically for your leadership and your empowerment as you begin your day. Notice also not only how that might affect you in your role as a teacher, but in your relationships. You notice how it might shift. So this is primary, grounding yourself. Also, in that, set an intention for your day. What is it that you would like to create? How would you like to live in yourself in that day? What is your hope? What is your prayer? What is your intention for yourself, for your class, for your day? Set that intention. It's also important in this beginning practice of grounding in the day, to deepen your breath. And when I say deepen your breath, I mean allow your breath to come down further beneath the diaphragm into the belly. You can even bring it lower than the belly into sometimes the root, the pelvic floor, the base of your body. And even though we know that area doesn't have lungs and doesn't breathe, we can direct our breath deeper into our body, and that's very grounding. And as we remind ourselves to breathe deeply, we can repeat that throughout our day. You can repeat that throughout your day in moments when it's tough, when you're really challenged, that you remember to take a full body breath, deep breath. And just again, I'm going to keep reminding you your breath is going to be important throughout your day. So you can do that. So this is preparation for your day that I'm talking about. I also want to add 2 more energy practices before you start your day, because they're going to play out in these next tools I'm going to give you. One of those energetic practices is, again, recognizing that you have an auric field around your body, and you can place light around that auric field. Grounding yourself the way I was describing would allow for you to radiate and take up space in your body. That light around the outside of you would hold a little more energetic protection as you're engaging with other people's energy throughout the day. That's important. The other tool that I want to give you is I use this tool. I've written about it in my books. I talk about it in my programs. I offer it to therapists, teachers, parents, anyone in a caregiving role. And it's very, very helpful. It's actually a game changer. And that tool is the waterfall of grace, that you lean back into your back body. That's where we source our soul. That's where we allow grace and light and spiritual consciousness to source us. That's where we receive on a soul level. The front body is where we have to engage in the world. That's where you are going to be engaging with your staff or your students. Front body. That's our ego. We all have it. We all need it. But our back body is where we replenish and we source ourselves. And if you imagine that you were leaning back into a waterfall of grace and allowing your soul to receive, your back body to receive, and allowing that light to flow over the top of your head to your front body, and just allow yourself to be in that shower of grace while you are up there teaching math, social studies, reading, whatever it might be. Notice the difference. Notice the difference between doing that, engaging that energy tool versus not. It becomes a game changer for people to allow themselves to be showered with grace through their day. And it's keeping it in the back of your mind or your awareness. You can have your eyes open with students and having this back of mind awareness that, okay, I'm going to let myself be showered in this moment. I'm going to feel my feet on the ground. I'm really going to take care of my energy in this moment as I am up here teaching. It would be very interesting to see what inspiration comes out of you, what changes in your voice, what changes in your affect when you're presenting to students by doing this, by engaging in this way. Okay. These are tools I'm giving you in preparation for your day, although that last one and the bubble of light are useful through, actually, they're all useful throughout your day. But I'm going to talk for a moment about how you can prepare, in this case, your classroom. What you go into, you've done your energetic tools and you go into work. And let's say you get there early and you have plans, you have lesson plans to set up. This can be done at the end. What I'm going to describe is going to be done, can be done at the end of the day, or it can be done in preparation of your day. So first of all, I want to talk about energetically clearing your classroom. This would include, so think about this, there's sometimes the windows need to be closed if you even have windows in your classroom. And so energy can really collect in a space that's contained. And that containment's important, actually. We do need containment for grounding and for students to feel that they are in this space, and that actually can help with focus. But it can also be a place that collects energy and there isn't enough filtration. And so sometimes you have to actually energetically clear the space to filter the energy or flush it out or clear it. So if you have windows in your classroom, even if it's cold out, open them up and allow air into the classroom. And that might be something you already do. But I'm going to add to this is that you can sit in your desk or you can stand in front of your room and you can call light. You can simply say, I'm going to imagine, sense, feel, intend that there is a cleansing light that's coming into this space to gather any energy that is not meant to linger, that doesn't serve anyone, me or the students. I'm going to ask that this light filling this space detoxify, clear, and let go of any energy that is not serving me or this space. And you allow that light that spend a good 5 minutes. It can be more if you want to spend more time, great. Minimum of 5 minutes. Allowing, intending, setting the intention, maybe even visualizing if that comes easily to you, that this light is clearing the space. Allow the light to clear the desks, the tables, the chalkboard, or I'm sorry, I'm old school. You probably I don't even know if you have those anymore. Whiteboards, whatever you might have in the space, that you allow every aspect of that room to be detoxified by this light. So that's one way you can energetically clear your classroom. If you don't have windows, then all the more reason to bring in the light. You can call it in from above. You can just imagine that a big glow of light fills the space. Try different things. See what works for you. Use your creativity and your imagination to help intend that light fills this space to clean it, to clear it. So that is one powerful way to energetically detox the room. Next, just as you would ground yourself, ground the room. Imagine that there's a grounding cord through all the corners of the room, from all the corners of the room, deep, deep, deep into the earth. Ground yourself and ground the room. And allow that any energy that's kind of escalates starts to settle down in the space. Give the room a grounding cord. That can be very beneficial. At the end of the day, and so we're still on this topic of energetically clearing your classroom, at the end of the day, send students' energies home with them. Allow their energy. You can literally take your hand at the end of the day when everybody's gone, and I'm letting everybody's energy go back to them. It can take 30 seconds to a minute, intending that all the students, all their energy goes back to them. Everybody else in your workplace, everybody's energy go back to them with good intentions. It's not get away from me. It's I'm allowing your energy to be in your body, and I am grounding myself, and I am asking for this bubble of light to be around me, to purify me, that I am not going home with any energy that isn't mine. Because again, around our energy body, we can take that energy in and we can carry it in our auric field, and it affects us in lots of different ways: physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically, can affect us. So light around you. And then to complete your day, shower that light of grace. I'm allowing myself to take an energy healing shower and let all the energy that doesn't serve me release down my grounding cord to the earth. And I am going to take myself and my clear center, my shower of light, my protective bubble of light around me, and I'm going to go home. And then you go home with your own energy. And should you need to do that at home, should you forget to do it at school, you can do it at home, even though you've left the building. All of those energy healing tools you can apply at home. If you need to, some other tools to detox your energy at the end of the day are you can go for a walk. I know, well, let me back up to say that sometimes we can have other, we'll say, cruxes or ways to unplug or numb, and that can include a glass of wine or some form of drinking or engaging in TV or something that might be, I just can't think, I have to be mindless. It's a lot of mental energy. And whatever your coping is at the end of the day and way of coming back to yourself, if that is, and decompressing, is that's fine, except that it doesn't allow you to process the energy. It actually doesn't allow you to detox the energy, which is the tools that I'm offering here. And so what I would recommend is that instead of your first go-to being something like I got to turn on the TV, or I've got to crack open a bottle of wine, or I've got to eat sugar, or whatever it might be that we do because life is stressful, is that you implement these detoxing tools. Go for a walk, get outside, breathe fresh air. That fresh air can pranify, it would be energetically cleansing to your lungs. It can help you move your cellular body and process energy. Then ground yourself. Use your shower of light through your body. Detox, let go of energy that you might be holding on to. Place that bubble of light around you. Maybe if you have another type of physical activity you like to do after teaching, maybe it's yoga or going to the gym or something else. Maybe it's time to find a type of physical exercise outlet for you. Very healing and detoxifying for your energy system. But implementing these energy tools right after work, after teaching, can be very, very beneficial. And at the end of the day, in your classroom, you can again open the windows and let all the energy out, and you can call the light in. And if you do it at the end of the day, then notice how you feel when you walk in at the start of the day. Notice if it stayed, if it feels like, wow, my space feels clearer, cleaner, something feels more uplifting in this space. So whether you do that classroom detox at the end of the day or the start of the day, or whether you do your energetic, setting up for your day or your detox at the end of the day, do them. Just find time to implement these energetic tools into your daily life as a teacher. And I promise you will see a shift. You will notice it might initially be subtle or it might be drastic. You might start to notice that your students feel something different about being in your space. You might start to notice that they're connecting to themselves, that they are succeeding in a way that you can't even put your finger on. That's what happens when we do energy work. When I have a lot of, when I'm teaching students, they will say, gosh, I've been doing this work for, 6 months with you now, and our year now we've been in this program. And people say to me, something's different about you. Did you change your hair? Like, I can't put my finger on it. And that's the deep energy work that we do. Now, these energetic tools that I'm offering you are ways to take care of yourself on an energetic level. What they don't do is they aren't a replacement for any deeper emotional therapeutic work that might be, it might be something that, is like a deeper layer to look at. It might be the deeper work that's still needed. And so I also want to say that notice when is it that I these energetic tools really truly help, and I still have my own history to process internally. And it's important to know that we have to reach out for help sometimes. And sometimes that help is therapy or energy healing or something that's going to help us process the history that we might hold, particularly in the lower body. That's where a lot of our history energetically collects. So just notice that, and certainly ask for help if you need it. Reach out in your community, your network. There's a lot of therapists out there. If that's something that you can um, seek out, and see what is also in your community resources. See what's available to you as a teacher, as an educator. So these are some energetic tools to practice. You might want to listen back and take some notes on this and see if you can implement even a couple of these tools in your day to day life. And it'd be interesting to see how things change, how you feel in as you do these practices for yourself. So I hope this supports you. I hope this information gives you some resources and tools on how you can implement energy and energy healing work in your day to day to support you in being the leader that you are as a teacher. And I honor you in your role and in your heart and in your commitment. You have an important job to be doing here on this earth in educating children. And I send you much love and much gratitude for all you bring. I hope this supports you. And until next time.